What's going on, guys? In this video, I decided to start putting together a video series for you guys because I'll explain my background and as to why I'm going to go in this direction just for a few videos, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So we're going to talk about owning a business or opening a business and kind of chasing a dream in that aspect, and some quick tips with regard to why I feel that you definitely should not quit your day job. Check it out. So, who am I? My name is Rad. Right? If you're new to the channel, I'm a business owner and content creator and a personal trainer. But if you're not new to the channel, you kind of knew I was a fitness person. You put together that I owned a gym, but I talk about it here and there, but I don't know if you really knew that, because a lot of my videos are product reviews, fitness products, fitness recovery products, lifestyle stuff. And so it's fitness and lifestyle and product reviews. But as far as lifestyle goes, I guess this kind of branches into that or segues into that, as far as this is my lifestyle as a business owner and entrepreneur. So on that end of things, I am a business owner. I own a gym or martial arts school here in Colorado. Out of that business, on top of running that and teaching classes and having recurring revenue from those memberships, I also have a personal training business that, of course, I just run out of my gym or my school. Then I have other online businesses. I make money doing content creation and some affiliations and sponsorships that I've gained through my work. And so these are the ways that I earn an income and how I view myself as an entrepreneur. If you guys enjoy this content, please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if this is a video series that you'd like me to continue to do, as far as like how I open my businesses and how I run my gym and all that stuff. If you think that this kind of advice would help you, if you like aspire to do something like that one day, and I'll start to make a video series to do that. Now, as the old saying goes, I did not fall to the top of this mountain. This was a long journey, and it took a lot of learning. So in that path, the one thing I learned and I want to share with budding entrepreneurs or dream chasers is that I just feel up front that you should not quit your job. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, and I hope that this makes sense. Now, this isn't like a shattering your dreams kind of thing, because I'm not that. I'm not a dream crusher. I'm a dream chaser, so I'm a dream supporter. But in chasing your dreams, I feel like sometimes people lose their sense of logic or planning. And it's because there's a lot of motivational stuff like that, and I love that stuff. I still listen to that stuff every day. I put that stuff out myself. I give speeches to my students and other people. In that sense, on other areas, I'm a life coach. So that is my business. It's what I do. So I don't like this wave of people calling it toxic positivity or toxic motivation. Look, I feel like that stuff is necessary, but at the same time, I think a realistic approach has to be taken to head in that direction. Okay, so let's get to the meat of the video. We're going to start with number 1. Okay, the number one reason why you shouldn't quit your day job or your primary career or job when you're chasing your dream or trying to open a business is that you need capital. Now, of course, people probably feel like they could just go get a loan and all that stuff, but if you go get a loan, the loan has to be paid back. So you need capital, and the more capital you can bring to the table up front and not have to take out loans is just better for you in the long run. You don't want to be stuck paying off a bunch of loans, and then and that's taking so much of your overhead that you can just never quite make a decent living off of it. Now, guys, just real quick, my experiences with opening gyms, I've opened 3 gyms. I've opened 3 gyms. / martial arts schools. Martial arts schools, some people refer to these types of places as gyms or martial arts schools. I've opened 3 over time, and the one I currently have is my bread and butter, or my primary, the one that was most successful. So I've been down this road. Now, with all of them, prior to recently, I still kept my job the whole time. That takes me to number 2. The reason you want to keep your job is when it comes to going into these ventures, you are your primary investor. So you are your primary investor. As the primary investor, you need to have capital or money to invest, and you're going to continue to need to invest, so you need your job. The investment when you're keeping your job and you open a business or you open a gym or whatnot is that you're hoping that your gym makes enough money to sustain itself, and then you just don't take any salary. So your job basically is not that you're pumping your money from your job back into your business. Sometimes you have to, but it's that your job is supporting you and your family or whatever while you put every dime back into your budding or growing business. One of my mentors, we were talking about how we got started because he was trying to guide me into quitting my job so that I can focus on my business 100% because from his perspective, my business wasn't growing at the scale or the speed that he felt it could because I couldn't invest 100% of myself into it. And he felt quitting my job and putting myself into that would be the way to go. When he started, he just had way more money to start with, as far as he had a lot of money saved up. So he prepared to live off of the savings for the first year of his business, where he was upside down. He was in the red for the first year and then ended up in the black by the second year, but he planned for that. Now, truth be told, maybe if I had quit my jobs sooner, maybe I would have been able to leave sooner and grow a scale up faster, but I'm okay with the pace that it took. That pace is, for the first year, I was basically just hoping to get enough business to keep it running, and I did. The second year was more about, okay, keeping it running and being able to pay off like the very small loans that I took out and some credit card debt that I amassed in buying equipment and whatnot. And then I did a very small expansion because I convinced myself that it wasn't growing because it needed to be a little bit bigger. So by the third year, I was paying off the primary opening and the secondary expansion. I was paying off the second expansion. And then we were growing. But for me to make the money I wanted to make, we were kind of outgrowing the very small facility we started in. So going into year 4, I needed to reinvest again. This takes me to the next point, number 3, reinvesting. So this is another reason why you want to keep your job, because either you're going to have to inject some of your own money into it, or you're going to invest money that if you're saving, which I was doing, saving anything I made over the top of overhead, and then reinvesting it in. So when I needed to expand in year 4, then I was able to reinvest into my business. Now, reinvesting into your business is smart if you feel like the expansion is the only way to really get the numbers you're looking for, so that eventually you can live off of your business or your dream. But be careful, because sometimes we get caught in this trap of thinking that we have to be so big, and we just start, growing. And I think that's the mistake a lot of us made. That same friend of mine was telling me, don't feel like you have to grow too fast. If this facility is small, just add more classes to the schedule. Don't feel like you need more space to host more classes. But it ended up being a good decision, because I instantly jumped 30% year over year as far as my earnings. So it was like a 30% year over year increase, I was making a very small amount of money at first. So obviously 30% wasn't a huge amount, but it did jump to about a 40% spike when we moved into the bigger place and opened the newer, larger facility. Was able to, bring more people in. But I still wasn't at that number that I needed to hit. So I'd say the first 4 years, I basically had my gym and my school, and I wasn't really able to pay myself. Everything was just kind of paying bills and just saving money as whatever I could. By year 5, I finally broke 6 figures. 5 and then 6 was kind of COVID, right? So we took a hit for the second quarter of that year, but then we recouped really big and had a better second half than we've ever had. But because of that hit we took, we kind of barely made it more than year 5. But 5 and 6, we were well into 6 figures. Shockingly, we were heavy enough into the 6 figures in year 6 that I was able to completely quit all my jobs and focus full time on my school. And my wife also got laid off pre-COVID, like right before isolation hit. And instead of going back to the corporate grind, she wanted to stay on and just help me with the business. And that's part of the reason why it did start to grow, because then I wasn't doing everything by myself. So the both of us basically didn't have our jobs, and we were focused on our businesses full time, and that's how we kind of grew the other not passive incomes, they're hustles. I grind for those incomes, but we grew our other income streams once we both weren't working on anything else. But none of that would have been possible if I had just quit my job in the beginning and just went headfirst into the whole thing, hoping that I was going to make an income. You have to establish a brand. You have to put that time in. So number 4 is side hustle. Right now, we live in the era of the side hustle. It is the thing, right? When I was growing up with parents, like when they needed extra money, there was no like creating a side hustle. You just couldn't do it. The technology didn't allow for that. Parents had to go get second jobs. I mean, even when I first was an adult, like in my early 20s, if you wanted to make extra money, you went and got a part-time job. You had to get a second job. We didn't have like the mobile phones and the computers in our hand, in our pocket, and ways to like respond to customers via email and phone. We didn't have all that technology to be mobile and run a side hustle like mobily. Is that even a word? I think I mean remotely. So now that you can like kind of build your dream or a side hustle like remotely, then you can watch it, kind of nurture it and watch it grow on the side till it becomes something that can kind of take over your primary income. And that takes me to number 5, is you got to take the time to learn. So I kind of throw back to something I said a little earlier about, if I would have just quit everything when I started, I would not have made it. And that's why most businesses fail in the first 3 years. So over the time that I was learning, like the 5 years before I was like comfortable starting. So 5 years in, I quit my primary career. I say I retired because I was at that company for 20 years. I quit that job, and then I still was afraid not to have a steady check coming in from somewhere. So I did go get a part-time job, but then I convinced myself that my business was my full-time gig, and I was just doing a little part-time gig to make sure I just had a little check coming in. But again, I stressed that by year 6, when I was forced to pretty much go all in, that's when we turned on the faucet and we just really blew up. But those years, I learned a lot. I had to learn a lot about like how to market a business, how, hiring people for SEO, branding, like the social media branding, like all these different things. How much money should I spend here? How much money should I spend there? Who not to work with? Like I'll never work with Yelp again, but I would use Google ads again. Like I'll never use Facebook ads, though I never saw an ROI on Facebook ads. So learning all these different things, and you're throwing money at this. So it wasn't like I had all this debt just from overhead rent and stuff like that. You have to market your business. You have to have your website show up in search. So you need search optimization. Then you're trying to work with contractors to understand like what's a fair price for that. And you're just going through the motions, and then you're looking at promotions and you're working with Groupon. So there's a lot of things to learn. And then it's like, okay, when you get members in, what does retention look like? So regardless if you have an inventory type business where you're selling products, or you have like a recurring payment type business like I have, there's so much you need to learn. And if you're trying to live off of a business that doesn't instantly just blow up, it's going to be a very hard process to go through. Fortunately, once my wife came on and we were both in 100%, another reason we were able to live off the business is because I was able to basically cut ties with all the other contractors that were doing a lot of the marketing and SEO and all that, because my wife decided to just go online and take courses in SEO and learn all these things instead of me paying people to do that for me. So she took that on, and that's, so those are things that you learn. And if you can up your skills, you have to wear a lot of hats as a business owner or entrepreneur. And you have to decide, what is your time worth? Like, is it worth paying someone else to do it, or is it worth you learning so you have the time to do it yourself to save that money? In the end, all that learning takes time. And unless your business is instantly profitable, and I'm talking profitable to maybe 50-50, you could get away with that. But the rule is kind of like 70-30. Okay, so I read this a long time ago, and I told myself that I wouldn't quit my job until I was in a 70-30 situation where 30% of your overhead, whatever you make monthly, your gross, 30% is your overhead and 70% is earnings, right? And for the longest time, all those years prior to me being able to go full-time into my business, it was the other way. It was 70% overhead, right? And then 30% earnings. and I just kept putting that 30% away. Maybe I would pay myself a little bit of money, but it wasn't even like enough for a part-time income. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. That's my advice, guys. Don't quit your job. Like, grow your side hustle. Learn the things you need to learn. Grow your business. Scale it up. But don't wait too long as well. Don't wait. Don't feel like it has to be this massive company or blow up to be this massive business before you can walk away from the other thing. The way to balance that out is you really need to look at your debt. And just if you're working your job while you're growing your business, eliminate as much debt as possible or all your debt. By the time that we were both going all in last year, I don't know how we pulled it off, but it was just smart financial moves by me. But I basically got us debt free, which gave us the ability to live off of what we made from the gym. And I'm going to explain it like this. When we had our jobs and we had our salaries, we were making 3 times what we make now. But we were in so much debt and I saw less money. I couldn't understand it. Once I paid off all of our debts, and we were able to, of course, because if there's less money coming out of the business to these debts, right? But once I paid off all of these debts and we were able to live on a leaner budget, then we were able to live off the business, and then we were able to grow the business, and we were just able to be smarter all around financially, and we just learned a lot. Last thing I'll recommend on this video is I'm going to recommend a book to you guys that really helped me over the last year as far as business, running a business and understanding the finances of it, because we are wired a certain way. Because the way we see businesses in a way that we think that things are supposed to be run. But it's called Profit First, okay? And I'm going to put a link in it in the description. But that is an amazing book. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why we were able to get out of debt, and I was able to restructure the way I handled the finances with my businesses, and it took us to the next level. So check that book out. I recommend that. But those are my 5 reasons, guys. Don't quit your day job. Chase your dreams 100%, but do it in a practical manner. Like, be smart about it so that you can sustain it, and it can grow to be something really great. Because if you just leap into things sometimes without a lot of planning, without a lot of forethought, or again, just capital, it can fall flat, and then you miss an opportunity where you could have grown something that was really awesome. Okay, guys, thank you for watching the content. As always, I appreciate it. Don't forget, keep fighting for fit, no excuses, and I'll see you in the next video.